Hello everyone, welcome to Amani's Lightwork Keys to Akasha section of my channel. For those of you who are new or you're visiting, welcome. It's great to have you here. Hope that you decide to stay. Okay, so before I begin with the case I'm going to be covering today, I just want to let you guys know that I am running the tarot series on my Instagram page at AmaniIfe777. If you would like private readings, you can DM me directly through there. I'm always available, okay? So all of my readings, you should know, are based on interpretation and what I receive from Spirit directly, okay? And everything is interpreted. Nothing is, I typically try my best to pick up energy and see what I can get on the perspective, individual, or the elements of the case that I am working on, okay? It's a very scientific experience for me. I consider it to be a genetic, kind of like a genetic scientific experience for me. So I am doing the best that I can with these readings, okay? So today I am going to be covering the case of Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., also known as Young Dolph, okay? He was born July 27, 1985, in Chicago, Illinois, making him a Leo. He passed away November 17, 2021. This year in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, so the death claim for him was that he went to Makita's Cookies, I think that was the name of it, in Tennessee. He went to get cookies for his mother. It was one of his favorite spots, I believe, to go to. And I think they said that, some people, I don't know, some guys rolled up where he was and shot him. Okay, so my friend actually asked me to cover this, but I wanted to do it for myself anyway as well, and for you guys to see what information I can gather on his situation, and if there's any new details, that can be utilized to then aid to the investigative portion of his case. Okay, I did spend some time in meditation for him before I decided to turn the video and the camera on, and I was getting something. Typically when I do, I try to tap in, I try to speak to the spirit, I try to invite the spirit in. Of course, I do cleansing procedures before I do that. I don't do that on camera per se, but when I was receiving him, I was getting something along the lines of way close. That was something that I was getting. So something about being way close and staying right here. So that could be a message his spirit has to people who are, humans, people that are on the biospheric plane of existence, meaning people who are living, and then the ethereal realm of staying right here, meaning trying to understand. That could be why his spirit is not here, or the transition between the biospheric plane of existence and the ethereal realm. Okay, but that could also mean way close, could mean absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be spiritual in nature at all. It may be more tangible than it seems. Okay, all right. So let's see what we can pick up here. Now, one song, I didn't know him by name originally before. I guess I didn't notice because one song that I actually liked a lot that came out a couple of years ago was OT Genesis Cut It. And I saw that when I was searching, I was like, what songs was he in? So I searched it up on YouTube, and I saw that he did a collaboration with OT Genesis on that song. And I didn't notice, and I was like, oh my God, that was one of my favorite songs. So, but he's got other music, of course, that you can check out as well, okay? Okay. Alright. Two of Pentacles is underneath. The Two of Pentacles would imply financial balance. Financial balance meaning I'm getting the idea of investments. Financial imbalance with investments. Okay, so investments could be home and property investments. Home and property investments, music industry investments, things of that nature, personal ones, etc. that he may have been doing, for his family, for himself. It just depends on the energy that is coming through. One reminder as well that I will be doing this in chronological order, which means that, leading up to his passing. So days, weeks, months, chronological sequence, I'm going to try my best to pick up on. Okay, that's why the Two of Pentacles energy is underneath here. I am looking at this, and there are two individuals here, as you can see on the card. So they are white in nature. I also get influencers. So when I say white in nature, these two people, they're influencers that he may have been dealing with, or I get signing deal. He signed a deal with two. Oh, that's a mirror. My bad. Yeah, that's interesting that I was getting that. It looked like two people. He could have been dealing with two people, like two influencers, but he could be embodying one of these. But what's happening here is that this is a mirror image of this person, if you look at it closely. But it also looks like two people. Like he could have been dealing with two. He could have had two investment opportunities. He could have been dealing with two investors. I get a housing property. So if he was dealing with two investors, one of them has to do with signing a contract or the industry, and then another one has to do with a housing property. But they could be white in nature. Like if you look at the card, it's a white female that's working out right here. So it could be like a white woman. I don't know if there's like a lawyer, someone like a contractor, and then another investor that he could have been getting some, housing property ideas from. Like if he was making investments, of course, at one point he could have been interacting with someone that, of a different race or ethnicity than him that was responsible for like a banker, an accountant, a lawyer, another investor that could have been kind of ushering him in to what he can then do in terms of his investments. That's one element about it. Then he could have been dealing with influencers that may fit that description. So he could have been interacting with someone of a different race or ethnicity that was also an influencer, like someone on Instagram, someone on like another YouTuber, how to do these investments. He could have been watching videos and it just happened to be a white person or like a white female, white male that could have been, I get introducing him to a strategy. So when I said a white female or white male, one of them could have been introducing him to some type of investment strategy or financial strategy or financial literacy strategy, like strategizing how he can balance his finances. This is what you can do, or as an accountant, as a lawyer, this is what you can do. This is the investment portfolio I'm going to present to you, and then you're going to work on it, if that makes any sense. Okay, but they're coming off as, they don't have to be white or a different ethnicity. Someone is lighter that he was interacting with, like could be like a Hispanic person or like somebody that's white. I just feel drawn to that. Someone that's white that he was dealing with interaction wise in terms of an investment, like especially if he was doing something property wise or like business wise, like trying to buy, like say he wanted to buy a store, like a commercial property somewhere. He would have needed to interact with someone here. You know, I mean, it doesn't have to be a white person that he, would have been interacting with, but wherever he was trying to purchase property, he had to run into some type of communication with someone that may have previously owned the property, the commercial or the residential. It just depends on what's going on. Or the person that was responsible for introducing some type of strategy to him as to how he can invest. So basically an information session on how to make certain investments, how to gain property, how to build revenue on a property or commercial property. Okay? Residential, commercial. Starting point has the Prince of Swords energy, the hacker. Alright, so the Prince of Swords could be someone that he collabed with. He's a fire sign. He could be embodying Prince of Swords energy. Someone who, someone who, they don't have to be a hacker, but someone that is tech savvy, basically, behind the scenes. Or this is someone that he could have been collabing with the Two of Pentacles underneath. All right, in terms of investment and things of that nature as well. This person is shown up here, they're black. As you can see, they're black, they wear glasses, they may fit this description. Definitely like an air sign. So an Aquarian, a Libra, or a Gemini energy, that's a male. Right? I do get this feeling of paperwork with this individual. So the Two of Pentacles and the Prince of Swords, something is going on paperwork-wise. If I'm picking up something like paperwork with the Two of Pentacles underneath, the paperwork implies some type of financial investment or financial gain that they were looking to profit. They were looking to profit. So they're looking to profit it now. Like paperwork will mean possibly his music and things, copyright, things that belong to him, intellectual property that belong to him. This person may have been responsible for managing that, if they're like a manager, a friend, someone he was collabing with, that they have his property. Like they have his property like business property, or they have his property like his intellectual property, maybe his songs, things of that nature, things that he wrote. They may, things that he composed, this person has access to, and they may be making money off of. So one element about it is paperwork involved. Yes, there's paperwork involved. Or I get obstruction. So I'm looking at them and I'm talking about the fact that there's paperwork involved and there is an obstruction going on with something that he had intertwined with this person in paperwork. It could be tax related paperwork, it could be insurance related paperwork in regards to his music and his intellectual property and copyright infringement and things of that nature that this person may be making money off of. So that's why the Two of Pentacles is underneath. That's one element about this. Then that's investment in his contract in the industry with this individual. So they're a composer, they're another music artist, they're another influencer interacting with this person. How can we work together? How can we strategize together? Two of Pentacles, meaning to him and this other individual. How can we work together on this investment? If it's not only intellectual property, music, and records and songs, then it's investments, as in like a commercial property. Then it's It's a financial investment into a commercial or residential property along with this individual, or they're helping him with that. But I feel like they're more so, as I'm looking at everything that's around them, I feel like this is someone that he was meeting in the studio. I feel like this is someone that he was dealing with in the studio wise, like someone that he was, he may have had a few arguments with, he may have had a few disputes with in the studio environment. And one thing about it is that he could have discussed with this person his family, things that he was trying to do for his family, opportunities he wanted to give his family, a home and properties and investments he wanted to make for his family. He shared with this individual, right? I feel, when I hit that note, I do feel like they have, something's going on here. I'm getting the word or the term sole proprietorship. Okay, sole proprietorship. So this person, he himself, Dolph, may have had sole proprietorship on a situation in regards to his work or his investments, or both of them combined, or both of them intertwined. Sole proprietorship. This person, I feel like, may have co-signed on him being a sole proprietor of his own intellectual property or his own business. So whether that's investments as in home, residential, and commercial investments, and that's also intertwined with his music. So somebody co-signed on, so say for example, I want to buy a home, or I want to invest, like I want to invest in a property, I want to invest in real estate, and I have my own thing running. This person, this person is then coming in and they want to co-sign on what I have in terms of my return, or they want to co-sign on the property taxes, they want to co-sign on the song, they want to co-sign on my investments. That's why this individual is here. The winning position has the Nine of Swords. So what I just picked up is Nine of Swords is not giving this permission, not giving this individual permission to do what I just explained. Like, he didn't give this individual to do that. Co-sign on this, that, and the third. Co-sign on his home and residential property investments. He didn't give this person permission to do so. But they do have the hacker underneath. So either he was aware that they were planning on doing that to him, or they did it, or they did it before he passed. They did it right before he passed, or like they knew something was going to happen to him, and they made plans. They made plans to take over, if that makes any sense. That may be happening now, or that was happening, the spirit said, right before he passed. So they were in the makings of doing that. So that's someone that he was working with directly in the studio, like a friend, someone who. What's the situation? Someone who he did a few collaborations with, someone who he may have been getting some type of investment ideas from, collaborations from. They co-sign on what he was doing. So either the co-signing idea was either known or unknown in the months leading up to his passing. That was known or unknown. I'm going to say that a percentage of it may have been unknown. Nine of Swords, he passed in November. The 9 could represent September. So there's information that he may have been, there's information regarding the Prince of Swords element, their involvement, that he may have been finding out. 9 of Swords. And that involves the co-signing, that involves possibly even stealing the intellectual property, the copyright, the co-signing on the investments, the home, the residential, or the commercial properties, right? They're heavily involved. This individual is heavily involved to the point where something is going on with their savings, like whatever it is that they have saved, a percentage of that belonged to young Dolph. Their savings, the spirit implied, their savings, what they're able to save is from what they were doing or taking from Dolph, if that makes any sense, okay? What they were able to save. So now, the Prince of Swords, the 9 of Swords in the waiting position is possibly the idea of getting law enforcement involved. So if this happened right before he passed, there's the idea of possibly getting law enforcement involved, right, with the 9 of Swords. So these are plans that he could have been making in September, right? There's external, external influences. There's external factors that are contributing to what this individual was able to do, and how they're able to do it still. 9 of Swords, right? The present has the Strength card, sign of Leo. So that's his energy right there in the present. Need the strength to deal with a Prince of Swords energy that's right there. Okay, so this will be him. I don't feel any external Leo necessarily. I'm going to stick with this being him for right now. Dealing with a Prince of Swords energy and the 9 of Swords. It's really straightforward. So the Strength card being in the present would be... The Strength card in the present, I get retracting from a deal. The Strength card in the present would be him kind of retracting from a deal. That's why the 9 of Swords is here. retracting from a deal off of knowledge of this person or what this person was able to do, or the invasiveness of this individual. Their invasiveness, right? Nine of Swords, retracting from a deal or considering doing so. The Spirit also said that the Nine of Swords, he wasn't able to retract from a deal with this individual because they co-sign. So it's like you're making an investment with someone and you're making your Nine of Swords, you're putting on a down payment on a property, you're putting a down payment on a house, whatever kind of down payment with this investment, then you want to retract. That's next to impossible. Once you initiate the process and give somebody the investment or the down payment, you're making the investment. Once you're doing it, you cannot retract from the deal. Cannot retract from the deal. And that's something that this individual might have explained to him, right? It's very critical that either they did or they did not explain that to him. And the Spirit emphasized that it's very critical that he was not explained that by this person. He was not explained that to by this person, or an external entity that isn't showing up here yet, at least. He wasn't explained that by this person. Or someone that their team, the Spirit is giving the idea it's their team, that there's a team of people surrounding this individual that may protect their own intellectual property, or there's a team of people surrounding this individual that protects their, that protects their investments or protects their, I also get usage of name. Like this person, the usage of Dolph's name that this person has, this person, what do you call that when somebody's able to use, like a Creative Commons, pretty much. Like if you think about it on YouTube, like a Creative Commons attribution or a Creative Commons agreement that this person may have in regards to Dolph's intellectual property, Nine of Swords. So he's in a deal with this individual and they can use his name, like a Creative Commons. They can use his name, or if his name, I was saying insurance, his name, Dolph's name, may be on this energy's insurance because it's a signed deal. It's because of a signed deal that Dolph's name is on this individual's insurance. So that could be health insurance, life insurance, music industry insurance that this individual has for themselves, for their team, or for their own family if they're really separate from him. Nine of Swords energy, right? Nine of Swords energy in the Strength card in the present. How to retract from a deal. Nine of Swords was him. How to retract from this deal after finding out that this person, I had an insurance policy. This individual, they took out, or they're trying to take out. They could have, somebody would have already done it before. This individual took out, or they trying to take out an insurance policy, maybe using Dolph's name, like using his information, birth certificates and things of that nature, that they have access to that. They're able to use that documentation because they co-sign. Dolph signed on an investment, whether that's in the industry, whether that's with the music, whether his work, or an investment that he made. This person co-signed on those investments. Because they co-sign with or without Dolph's knowledge, this individual is then able to, they can file taxes, yes, that's one element about it. They can do that, but they can also use his name, or they also have rights to his intellectual property. They have rights to his name, or they have like a Creative Commons situation going on agreement-wise with Dolph's property, whether that's an investment property, his music, things that he composed, etc. This person co-sign on that. They will forever have that access. And then another element is an insurance policy. That's where the usage of the name is coming from. The insurance policies. The insurance policy that this individual has, or ain't trying to make. They're trying to make that, or they're trying to get that done. So the Two of Pentacles underneath with the interaction that he may have had with, the Spirit is giving the idea of a white investor, like a Caucasian investor that Dolph may have had an interaction with. that investor, that investor may have been shady. Whether they're a white or black investor that Dolph was dealing with, this person, however, is involved, or they just involved this person without Dolph's knowledge. And the person and the Caucasian investor that Dolph was interacting with gave a princess. They gave this individual some type of separate paperwork or something to sign. But whatever they gave them to sign, I had signing rights away. Whatever it is that they were given to sign, it implied that Dolph signed his rights away. Dolph pretty much signed his rights away to the Caucasian, whoever it is, a man or a woman, that they're Caucasian, that he was making investments with. This individual came in, whether they were like another music artist that he was interacting with, that he was working with, or an investment that he made. This individual then co-signed, but they were given a separate document or given separate paperwork without, that's all I'm getting an idea of not permission. They were given that separately without Dolph's permission, and they're signing it, and that's how they're able to do the life insurance policy, or they're able to do the insurance period, or they're able to receive they're able to receive revenue because of the usage of Dolph's name on property that they co-signed on. So whether that's a business property or it's music related. Right? I'll give you a really interesting example. Say, he does a collaboration with a song with someone in the video, right? And because he's gone, what that person was given, if it's like a YouTube situation with like a Creative Commons and using it, and he's not, he may have been not getting any revenue. This individual may have been getting the revenue from the video that he showed up in with this person, or a video that just has his name on it. This person co-signed, and they're able to receive the revenue from that video or those videos or that music, that distribution. That would be distribution happening in the industry or outside of the industry, with investments, with music, with intellectual property, with copyright, with Creative Commons, Prince of Swords. So that could be happening through YouTube, or this is happening with YouTube videos or music and videos in general, showing up on TV or wherever. Something is also slanderous. Like, I look at the Nine of Swords. Something is also slanderous that may, as I ran through all of that, the Spirit said something is slanderous. So this person may have been slandering him. I don't know if he was slandering someone. It brought me back to the investor. He may have been slandering an investor for some reason. Could have been slandering that person. He was slandering someone, or this individual was slandering him, or something's going on with an investor. Something is slanderous surrounding an investor, or the presence of an investor, if that makes any sense. Something is slanderous about his interaction with them, Prince of Swords' interaction with them involved. I don't know if he was saying something about someone. I don't know, he was, I get the amount of money. So, saying there's an amount of money that he either was asked to pay, it could have been $9,000, or however much amount of money. $90,000, could have been $9,000. I'm looking at these numbers as well, the numerological aspect of it. So, it could be $9,000, $90,000, $900,000. I get upfront. So when I hit that note, there's a large amount of money that he may have been asked to give upfront, like upfront. It could have been to save an investment. It could have been to save. I had a contract. It's involving a contract, whether it's for a property or the music, a business. Do you have, can you drop 9,000 right now? Can you give me that upfront? Can you give me 90,000 upfront right now? Can you give me 900,000 upfront right now for this investment that you're trying to keep for me to protect your name and your intellectual property? Right? He was disgusted at one point. Like, there's this idea that he may have been really disgusted at some point. So either there's an investor that he was dealing with that they wanted him to make this kind of down payment, or they wanted him to make a payment to save his spot in the situation. So whether that, he could have been in a situation here where he was trying to buy a house. I'm just going to give it as an example. He could have been trying to buy a home, and an investor for a property is saying to him, can you give me, or is it feasible for you to get me 900, not 900, whoop, very low. That's like $1 in my head right now. 900,000 or 90,000, can you get that to me, that percentage of the deposit for me by this date, so that we can close on this property, right? It may not have been feasible for him. It either was or was not feasible for him, right? He may have been looking for, that's why the Two of Pentacles energy is underneath. He may have been looking for a payment at one point. This person, whether that's through videos, whatever he was doing work-wise, this person took a percentage of pay that he either was supposed to make a payment on a property, that's one, or he was trying to close on a property. And there's interferences from this individual because they have his information. But I get something about bank accounts as well. So this person being involved and interfere with his own access to his bank accounts, or something strange that was going on with his bank accounts and things of that nature. Like, they're really close. Oh, now I see why I was getting that's why I was getting that message that from the spirit about way close. That could have been the way he was speaking when I was doing my meditation for him from the beginning. I was getting way close. Like, somebody was way close. Way close. I kept getting that over and over again. Way close. This person was way close. Way close. Like, too close. Too close to his private affairs. They were too close to his private affairs. Strength, Nine of Swords. But they have this. They're so close to the point where they're interfering with down payments and payments that he's trying to close on properties for his family. They're that close. They were that close. Wow. The future has a Ten of Swords. This is my Ten of Swords is my, in these types of readings, the Ten of Swords is my death card, okay? And then let me just hold on, put that there, and that's the future. And then the Instincts has the Universe. All right, so the universe will be it kind of, when I see the universe, it kind of makes me think of like record labels. I don't know why. Because it makes me think about Universal and those kind of things too. So like record labels and whatever, it kind of gives me that idea. But the universe will be, like the world, like cycles, like worldly cycles and things coming to a close. And the Instincts, or his contracts and deals coming to a close in the Instincts. That's what he was thinking about. I kind of see that as, you look at all the fire that's going on right here. That's his element in the background, right? Being at the top of his game, being at the top of his own world with his creativity as an artist. But that was coming to a close because of the critical idea of somebody else's interferences in his financial affairs. Somebody being too close to his investments. Somebody being so close to his investments to the point where I can't pay. Somebody was so close to his investments to the point where he couldn't pay for something anymore. Couldn't close on something. Could have more than one property. I'm getting that idea. I'm getting the idea that he had a lot of properties, or it's his property. Like, if it's not like a commercial or a residential property, then it's his property, like his intellectual property, his work. And then trying to close on properties, meaning like a building or a house or whatever it was, or at least trying to get those things done. And then somebody being co-signed to those things made it really difficult for him to make a payment sees something crucial, their involvement. Their involvement. Nine of Swords. With the universe and the instincts. There's a situation as well too of switching record labels. Like, I don't know, he may have been in the zone of trying to figure out a way to switch or change record labels. That may have been something he was thinking about doing. That's why all these swords are here as well too. Ten of Swords is not only death, but all these swords would be the mind and thinking, how can I get away from this individual? How can I get away from this individual? They pretty much own what he had. Like, they own it. So it's like, if he's in a record label, and I think a lot of it has to do with the label, literacy in the label, or something being understood to the point where you're signing your rights away, but you don't know you're signing your rights away. That's one element about this. You don't know you don't know you're signing your rights away, meaning that you no longer own you. You no longer are yourself. Your paperwork no longer belongs to you. Nine of Swords. Paperwork and property no longer belongs to you. It's almost like being owned by an external entity. They're owned by an external entity, co-owned by this person, right? Co-owned by this person or their team. But this person is operating out of the protection of an external entity that also owns the property. The accomplishment has the Moon. The sign of Pisces right next to the Prince of Swords. The Moon is using his, into trying to see something about the Prince of Swords. Trying to see something about the Prince of Swords energy. I get this idea of giving it back to me. Like, I'm hearing that. Like, give it back to me. It could have been something that small. Like, literally, give it back to me. Someone give it back to me. Give me back the money. Give me back the paper. Give me back whatever it is. Give me back the paperwork. Whatever it is. Give it back to me. He was saying that to someone. Give it back to me. Give it back. With the Moon next to the Prince of Swords energy. Give it back. Give it back to me. The property, the paperwork, the lease, the whatever it was, not the lease, the deed. I don't know. Give it back to me. Investments. I mean, if you're dealing with a house and property, the deed. Give me back the deed. Give me. What's another situation? Give me back the deed, or I don't want the deed anymore. I don't want to sign on the deed. I don't want to, whatever it is. Deed will be for like a house or paperwork. The contract, like revoke the contract. Let me retract from this situation. Or give me back the contract. Let me sign myself back into the deal. So I don't know if he was in a situation here where he was I was getting the idea of retracting from a deal, but at the same time, it's like, at the same time, Nine of Swords, it would have implied an extreme financial loss for him. But the only reason why that's happening is because he was starting to realize how invasive the Prince of Swords energy was with his things. So then he's going to the top dog and saying, I want to retract, this person is doing this, that, and the third with my property. I don't think, this isn't going to help out my investments in the future. This is not going to help my investments for my family and my children that I'm trying to make and secure. So I need to come out of this. I need to come out of this. Having this person co-sign how is that helping me? How is that helping my family? How is that securing my family's wealth? If this person that is a full functioning adult, this person is co-signed, why would they want to be co-signed to something I'm trying to do for my family? Moon. Why would they want to be co-signed to something I'm doing for my family? Why do they need to be involved? Is the point. Nine of Swords. Why? So it's like, you know, he was in deep thought. Like Nine of Swords, he's in deep thought about how to retract, how to stay, considering staying, pulling back on an investment, going in for an investment. But I see what's happening. The Nine of Swords with the going in for the investment is that there was this worry of who's going to get on to that investment. So him as an artist, him going to buy a home, his Nine of Swords, his thinking was that who's going to co-sign on this property? Is somebody co-owning is somebody going to co-own my property? Is somebody going to try to have co-ownership of my home that I have for my family forever? Or is somebody going to do that, period? Or is somebody able to do that, period, is the point. Somebody was able to do that, period, yes. Right? So he did have a woman. I don't know if he was married to the woman. He had children. You know, what she, you know, for her, right, I don't know, she may not have been, I would think that she would have been involved in his investment decisions, but, you know, that, you know, his partner may have not been, you know, there's a financial literacy situation that is going on with his partner, or just the partner knowing and understanding how to make investments. So that could have been him or his partner as well. You know, that could have been him or his partner, and knowledge of certain things, and knowledge of who can get on to things like that, and insurance policies, and people that he's working with, and a team of people that he's working with. You know, Nine of Swords. Let's see. The Six of Pentacles energy is here in the spiritual self. So the Six of Pentacles will be like a charity card for me. Six of Pentacles next to the Nine of Swords. So I was getting that energy before of giving something back. Six of Pentacles is like giving something back. So it's like it's a charity card, but it also implies giving back money or trying to get back money. Trying to get back money, giving it back or getting it back. That's why the Nine of Swords is right next to it. Giving it back or getting it back. It's Pentacles. It's a financial situation. But it's in his spiritual self as well, because it's in his spiritual self. It's outside of the tangible if it's in the spiritual self. Which means that it's an internal decision that needed to be made for him. To retract from a deal, retract from a contract, retract from an investment because of somebody's involvement or knowledge of someone's involvement. Right? Knowledge of someone's involvement. Knowledge of someone that he was in a video with, like someone that he was, you know, I also get this idea of organizing an event. I'm getting that idea. The spirit cut me off and said that. I'm looking at the Six of Pentacles. Someone's going on organizing an event. Like organizing an event would have something where I get paying something off. Spirit's trying to help me. Organizing an event has something to do with paying something off. So that could have been something he was trying to do. He may have been trying to organize an event before he passed to pay something off. Whatever that is. Whatever. Like organizing an event could be GoFundMe related. Organizing an event could be like a, what do you call those things? Like a community thing where people come and they buy stuff. Or like a bakery, like baking things and selling it. Like the cookies and those kind of things that he was trying to do. Like that could have been what he was trying to do. You know, he could have been trying to do something like that. He could have been trying to do something like that. To give some... So there's... You know what's interesting? What's interesting... Now I see what's happening here. Right? As I'm talking about the cookies. What's happening here is that if he was doing work with someone, like a Prince of Swords or whoever, there's a Pisces there as well too. And there's another Leo. The Leo I feel like is him. But if he was doing something with someone like in a video or work-wise, was I get demanding. When I hit that note, they were demanding something back. So on the flip side of it, I don't know if he was receiving payments for something he was doing with someone, and he was taking. I also get an unfair amount. He could have been. I don't know if he was taking an unfair amount of the percentage from what was made from that for himself and for his family, and taking that from someone, or someone was trying to do that from him. Because now I'm getting the idea now that yes, they co-sign on something, but at the same time, there's this battle between who gets more money and who gets less money. And there's one segment of this where he could have been given or like a large percentage, or he took a large percentage of something that was made between a collaboration that he did with someone else. So that's him, or that's on the Prince of Swords was doing that. I feel like they both were doing that to each other at some point. And the Nine of Swords is that their vendetta. Their Nine of Swords is a vendetta that he either had formulated in his mind to execute, or the Prince of Swords energy did. The Prince of Swords energy did. So then his Six of Pentacles, internal, outside of the tangible, is to then figure out a way, retract from an investment. He tried to figure out a way to retract from an investment. The investment is external from whatever it is he had going on with the Prince of Swords. And that investment was then orchestrated or organized to then make up the percentage of what this person claimed he took, or vice versa. I don't feel like that person was trying to do that for him. I feel like this person, the blaming energy is coming from the Prince of Swords. The blaming energy is coming from them. You owe me like 90,000 for this video collab. Are you gonna give it back? When are you gonna give it back? Prince of Swords. That's their voice, like this deep voice. When are you gonna give it back? Kind of deal. Six of Pentacles. When are you gonna give it back? And he's nervous, he's trying to organize community events and possibly trying to raise money to then give back, then give back money from an investment that he made, or he retract from one, and that caused issues with this person. This person was involved with one, and they're staying involved in it, but at the same time, I feel like he was trying to make investment for his family, trying to do something for his family, for himself, whatever it is he was trying to do, but it implied he'd take a larger percentage of revenue that he could have made with someone, or within the industry, whatever record label or whatever it is he was doing. It implied that he'd have a larger percentage for himself, or something's just going on with him. Somebody felt old that he was dealing with, possibly for whatever reason, I don't understand. But the investments, he was thinking to retract from an investment. I am making something hot. It would have been making something hot in regards to the Prince of Swords energy. It would have been making something hot. Oh, I understand. So if someone's on the outside watching him make this, that, and the third investment, whether it's a residential property, commercial property, whatever he's doing for his family, this person eyeballing that, and they're like Six of Pentacles, and his interior, intangible feeling that he's having is that this person, how is he doing these investments and he's not giving me, I'll say credit, he's not giving me my credit, or he's not giving me my money back, or he's not giving me my investment or my percentage at all. So that person is watching everything that is happening there, or he was, if that's the case. I feel like at one point they both were conflicted as to what is going on with this investment, what is going on with this Creative Commons, this revenue, what is going on here? Why, how should I retract from this investment to then get that person back? What they think that belongs to them? Whatever it is. That's a lot going on there. Wow, the Five of Pentacles is in the mentality with the universe. So the Five of Pentacles is pretty much what I just explained. I don't need to clarify that too much. That's financial loss in the mentality. He's thinking he's going to, experience a financial loss because of somebody's demand. And then there's this element of not, the ending situation, and there was no meeting there was no conclusion to the meeting of a financial demand, or there was no, what would you say, what's the right word for that? There was no agreement to the demand. There was no agreement to the end. There was no ending agreement to the demand. Five of Pentacles, worrying about the money, his own money, somebody being involved in it, somebody co-signed on it, whatever it is, and then somebody co-signing on it, and then also being afraid to make further investments for the sole reason for somebody being watchful. How are you making these investments and I'm not getting, my fair share? Like, whatever it is going on. Whatever is that happen. It's heavily investment. There's heavy investments that he was making that it kind of, like, the investments could have been, the undertone of them could have been envy. Like, so he could have been dealing with someone that was envious or jealous. You know what I mean? Of that. Because of all these investments that he's making. I'm getting this interesting idea of, like, he probably should have moved elsewhere. Like, I'm getting that idea. He probably should have moved to live elsewhere. Or, you know what I mean? Like, where he passed and where he was, like, that area, you know what I mean? There could have been a really dense, hood-like vibe going on. And he probably should have moved, especially if you're trying to take care of your family and those kind of things and make certain kinds of investments. Like, I get this idea of Florida. I don't know if he was considering moving to Florida. I don't know anything about him that much, except, the songs and whatever. But I'm getting this idea of Florida. So, I don't know if he had family. I mean, you guys let me know. I don't know if he had family in Florida or he was considering moving to Florida. Or he could have made investments in Florida, or he was thinking about doing so. Something that's Florida about this, like that's either where, like, he could have been considering moving there or something like that. Okay, not like that's even better than anywhere else. This whole country needs help. The Four of Swords energy is in a changing position, so being the Four of Swords being in the changing. It would be that this is a feeling that he once had with the Prince regarding the Prince of Swords. He once had this feeling. Four of Swords would be a realization that kind of cleared up. So Four of Swords kind of accompanies the moon for me. It accompanies the moon. It accompanies the Nine of Swords. But it's changing because something was getting resolved, like something he was able to find out. He could have found out, that's what I was getting right before he passed. He was finding out things about them right before he passed. Or something they did right before he passed. Something that he knew about them right before he passed. Whatever it was. The co-signing, the investments, the insurance, the money, the interference. Whatever it was, that's why this is changing. Whatever it was with them, whatever it was, the only fire sign energy that is here is him. And there's a Pisces. This is Pisces element, but the moon by itself it also just be intuition. It's really direct in what's happening. It's really direct with what is happening. And this person, air sign male involved. There's a lot of air here. All this air. All the air is that they're responsible. All the air is that they're responsible. Okay? The resolution has the Prince of Cups. Okay, now we have a new energy. The Prince of Cups could be his child. Could be in the energy of his child. Or it's a prince. So it either could be his child or someone he was working with. I feel like there were multiple people. There's a Prince of Swords. I kind of see here's how I want to interpret this, right? Princess, when males show up as princes and not knights or kings, they are inferior. There's inferiority there, or inferior complexes with a Prince of Cups and a Prince of Swords. There's inferior complexes there. There's inferior complexes. That's why a male, that's the only way males will show up as princes in a spread. Just to let you guys know that. Alright? If a man is shown up as a prince, there's an inferior complex. It doesn't matter what race or ethnicity, there's inferior complexes with them there. There's inferior complexes. If you look at these colors at the skin tone, one could have been lighter. You know, one of them could have been lighter. This person looks darker to me. Like these are two dudes. Look at these two guys. Hey, shooter. This one of them is like the shooters. They're like shooters. If these two signs, if that is not their sign, water sign male and air sign male, then they're embodying that. Alright? They're embodying that. Insecure. Inferior. Prince of Cups. Okay? Insecure or inferior. If those are adults and not children. If one of them, I don't feel, and then I'm not trying to pay attention to any energy of his kids necessarily. The kids and the woman, they're really external. They have nothing to do with this at all. Nothing to do with it at all. These are adults here. I gotta arrest adults that they got arrested or they need to get arrested. They need to get arrested. So I don't know if he worked with this individual. He could have. They could have pulled the trigger. They're one they could have pulled the trigger. Okay, they're one they could have pulled the trigger. Prince of Cups, Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is right. They're right next to the Ten of Swords. They're right next to it. They're right next to it. Five of Pentacles, money, investments, co-signing on his investments. That don't make any damn sense. Why do you need to co-sign on somebody's private investments? Only you feel old? You know what I mean? Like, you want to co-sign on somebody's investments? For what reason? The man has children. What do you need? That's the problem. Why there's this issue taking black men away from their children, and it's not good. It's a terrible situation to be in. It's a terrible situation. That's why I was getting that feeling of inferior complex. This system that has the men of color kind of fighting against each other. Popularity. One of it is popularity, and then how he chose to take his earnings and then invest it. They may not have been thinking like that. One of them may not have been thinking like that. So then they try to co-sign on it. They try to figure out a way to co-sign. They try to figure out a way to co-sign on it. Alright, let me do an outcome here. So then he's finding out that, and finding out those things. The stalker-ish situation with them just rolling up there is because I had a claim. He could have put in the claim, or he could have, I'm getting an idea of fighting against it. He could have fought against it, and they became aware that he was trying to fight against that, whatever it was. So fighting against it could be fighting against it. It could also be trying to make an investment elsewhere. So investment, property investment, industry investment, record label investment, elsewhere, okay? Because it's problematic. The Magician is here. This could be Aries, Aries or whatever sign. Alright, so you have the Magician, the Mage is here, is in the outcome. So the Magician will be the Magician and the outcome. Well, I was going to mistake. The Magician and the outcome is also a mistake. The Magician is a mistake for some reason as well. The Magician is a mistake, right? Something that he willfully did. Something that was willfully done. Something that was willfully done. The Spirit is saying was a mistake, whatever that means. Something that was willfully done was considered a mistake. Let me do another outcome on the Mage. And then the Chariot, it does involve travel. So something being willfully done would be the deed, possibly the deed of him doing something for his mother, going to get something for his mother, traveling to do so. That spiritually may have been a mistake for him. You know? He could have, I mean, him getting to that spot, whatever occurred before, he could have been on the phone, he could have seen, that's what I get an idea, he could have seen something interesting before he even decided to get over there, to go over there, period. He could have just got off the phone arguing with someone and then ended up over there somehow. The Chariot is Cancer, so you have Cancer, Prince of Cups could be whatever water sign that's a male, and you have air sign male. You have Pisces, Leo is him, Pisces, Cancer, Aquarian, Libra, Gemini, that's a man, water sign male. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, male. When I hit that note, I get this idea of stolen identity as well. So that's why I was getting the idea of name. But identity, it could also be his personal identification. Something wrong with his ID. Like, I don't know if it's his ID or stolen identity. Stolen identity. He could have been dealing with that and didn't know that something was happening like that behind the scenes. So he could have been trying to fix something there with his name. That's why I was getting the idea with his name usage and his identity. And who had access to that? Who was tampering with that? He could have been trying to put in the claim to fix that right before he went over there. And someone knew, you know. But the identity issue has a lot to do with accessing, it could be revenue related, or accessing money from his investments, those kind of things. Money from his investments, trying to access those things, and the stolen identity, and something that was willfully done. You know, whatever he did, willfully done, meaning how he decided to resolve issues regarding his information being used. How he willfully went, you know, or somebody else willfully did something in regards to him. Or he did, you know, traveling there, knowing that he probably just got out of an argument with someone that might not have been, something may have been trackable about his phone and those kind of his devices as well too. That's why I'm looking at the Prince of Swords, and they're the hacker, but they're tech savvy as well. Like, they know how to GPS him. Something could have been GPS like in his car. Something could have been GPS related about what was going on with his car for whatever reason. You know? And then he had bodyguards there. I mean, whether they were present, I don't know what the deal is with, like, you know, bodyguards and those kind of things. You know, which is interesting too. Yeah, alright, so that was Young Dolph's reading. If you have questions, comments, or concerns regarding his case, you know where to find me. May his spirit go with peace. Be well. Take care. Bye.